Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Nathan ELEMENTofFROST, and we are back here yet again, doing another episode prediction video for this week's up-and-coming episode of Fear the Walking Dead. This is Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Captive, and how fitting of a title for an episode than, this title right here. I don't know where I was going with that, but it is pretty fitting if you think about it, because as we know, from last episode, spoilers, by the way, spoiler alert, just saying, can't predict a future episode of Fear the Walking Dead without spoiling some things that happened in the past. So, last episode, we get to see the boat actually being attacked by another group, right? Another group that actually was the group that, Alicia was communicating with over the radio back in about episode 1, episode 2, somewhere around there, right? I think it was episode 1 primarily. But anyway, that's that, okay? We get to see her communicating with him, and they obviously return in last week's episode, okay? And they basically take over the group, take over the boat, and they actually end up taking Alicia and Travis hostage on their boat. And, it's, they fortunately enough, the rest of the family get rescued on, the Abigail. They do get rescued by, Nick and his returning friend. So that is very, very good, for them, for their group. They can actually start to work up a plan, on how to get Alicia and Travis back now that they're free, from their captives. Now we only have 2 members captive, right? So, again, very fitting title for a episode, that's coming up. Very, very fitting. And I'm excited to see what happens with Alicia and with Travis, because this is like the first time that we actually get to see, I guess an encounter with the group, happened last episode, but this is like survival. You know what I mean? This is straight survival. And it's basically, their group, 2 of their own versus an entire boat, essentially. Will Madison, will all them, Strand and Daniel, will, Nick, will they all plan an attack? Something is telling me that they will, mostly because Daniel actually says in the promo, he actually says, if we're going to attack, we need everybody. Probably hinting, that we need Strand's help and, stuff like that. So we better go ask him, whatever. Up until this point, Strand doesn't really help out a lot other than, take them on a boat in the first place. But other than that, he doesn't really help out too much. If people die, they die, right? It's just, one less back or head that he needs to worry about, right? So I totally understand where Strand's coming from. But at the same time, we get to see Madison actually at the end of the last episode go ahead and save his ass, from hypothermia and from death, ultimately, in the ocean when he was, in the ocean, obviously, with his deflatable boat, if you will, that got shot. And, he was sort of just, he was grasping onto life, if you will. Okay, so as always, we're going to go ahead and start off the synopsis. And I guess we didn't really start off, but we're going to go ahead and read out the synopsis here of this episode. You guys can follow along on AMC.com as usual, if you guys want to. Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Captive. And the synopsis for this episode is: Alicia works to reunite with her family. Travis meets a familiar face. Madison and Nick lead a charge to save their family against all odds. Okay, so Alicia works to reunite with her family. So this part of the synopsis leads me to believe that Alicia is going to try to talk to Jack, the teenager, I guess, or, the guy that she talked to on the radio and in last episode that actually seems to have like a level head. He says himself, he doesn't enjoy doing this, right? Taking their boat, taking people captive, stuff like that. He doesn't enjoy it, right? And I think him and Alicia are developing a bit of a relationship. So this part of the synopsis where, it says Alicia works to reunite with her family, this leads me to believe that she's going to try to convince Jack, to help her out, to help her escape. That's what I think. There's not too much, else that we can take from that line. Other than, maybe she'll just try to, break out herself and Travis, on her own. But, all hints honestly point to her trying to get Jack, to help her out. So, Travis meets a familiar face. Now, I don't know what this means. I mean, it's pretty obvious what it means. It means he meets somebody that he already met before. So who could that be, right? We have no idea. Yeah. I'm not too sure. I mean, I guess it could very well be that that military soldier that he beat the shit out of. I guess that could be him, because I don't think he did die. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't actually think they killed him, like shot him or anything like that. He was just like bleeding and everything like that on the floor. So we could assume that he got pretty fucked up and, probably couldn't make it out of there in time for the zombies and, stuff like that. But like I said, we honestly don't know. So anyway, he meets a familiar face. We don't know who he's going to meet, but it's obviously somebody that he has met before, or maybe somebody that he has met, not in the show, like past life, pre-apocalypse, I guess, pre-show. Maybe that's somebody that he knows, but we don't know. You know what I mean? There's not really too much we can take from that line. Madison and Nick lead a charge to save their family against all odds. Obviously, their family being Travis and, Alicia. So they do have one of them captive, okay? Madison and Nick and everybody on the boat. They do actually have one of the captors, I guess, captive, okay, right now. They did take one of them hostage. So they could use that as like a potential exchange. They definitely could. Or like I said, they could be definitely planning on just like straight out assaulting the boat. Leads me to believe that they asked Daniel. Maybe Daniel started to take point on this. He says if we're going to lead an attack, we actually have to have, everybody on board. Essentially, that was in the promo, by the way. If you guys want the promo and the sneak peek, links will be down in the description below. Go check them out. They're very, very cool. Promos really, really intense. Sneak peeks pretty cool because we sort of get to see Strand's and Madison's point of view of things about Nick mostly, and I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll get into that here soon. Madison and Nick lead a charge. So this leads me to believe, like I said, Nick's sort of taking like a leadership role in the group, even more so than Madison and Travis. And I think, that's very well done, right? You know what I mean? I think Nick is well more prepared to this world than Madison and Travis because of the life that he already lived, as a drug addict and stuff like that. Like you said before, he feels as though he's been living this life for a while and now everybody's just catching up to him. So for him to lead would be a pretty damn good, smart thing to do, right? In my personal opinion. Could totally be wrong, you know what I mean? He could, rebound or, whatever you want to call it and, give in to the drugs again. We could see that, but, who knows? Who knows? But they are leading the charge. So I thought that was pretty cool, you know what I mean? I think Nick leading that charge and Madison finally, sort of realizing that Nick has this potential and this ability to lead and, to be a survivor at all costs. You know what I mean? He is a survivor through thick and thin. He's a survivor outright. And for Madison to start, maybe realizing that, giving him like a position in leading this charge to go save his sister and go save his, I guess, stepdad at this point. I think that's a pretty big step, for Madison as a whole. If that's actually how it, works. Obviously, she could be reluctant and, Nick just does it anyway. And if that's the case, I guess that's a pretty good, reasoning. I guess that's, a pretty all right assumption, but we don't know, right? So anyway, that's the synopsis, okay? So to get into the promo now, which is a little more detailed, it's basically scattered around too. So there's not much we can go on in terms of, core content of a scene or anything like that. We just see clips every now and then. It's super fast, you know what I mean? It just kind of blazes through the episode. And we get to see on multiple occasions, Travis and Alicia actually, held captive in what I can assume is another boat. I think it's a boat. Could be totally wrong. They could have took him to land. We don't know. But Travis is behind a chain link fence. So is Alicia. It sort of looks like Alicia is behind the chain link fence as well, not with Travis, but on the other side of it. So is that just another cell right beside him? Or could that be, meaning that Jack is basically protecting her, not making her go into a cell? We don't know at this point, right? But Travis basically tells her, if you get an opportunity to leave, take it. You know what I mean? Don't worry about me. Take it. Be safe. Go back to your family. Go back to Madison. Go back to Nick. Stuff like that. And she assures him that she will come back for him if that actually happens, right? So again, a new relationship developing there, between the stepdad, so to speak, and Alicia, you know what I mean? She was sort of reluctant to, see the light in him and see that he could be like a good potential, stepdad to her because, she's been hurt before by her real father and everything like that. We get to see, sort of not really a hateful relationship, but sort of a relationship where she doesn't truly 100% accept him, into the family. And I feel like this survival, aspect to it is going to essentially bring them a little bit closer. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. So we'll see what happens there on the boat. Like I said before, I think there's some sort of plan that she has with maybe, asking Nick or trying to convince Nick, or not Nick, I'm sorry, Jack, to, help her out of the boat and stuff like that. Help her get back to, her family, and then maybe work up a plan to save Travis or save Travis as well at the same time. We don't know. You know what I mean? She's probably just trying to convince Jack to all the way around, just completely disobey his own group, right? Just abandon them, essentially, come with us, save our lives, yada, yada, yada. And I think that's what's going on, and I think that's going to be very interesting to see if, Jack breaks, because according to him, he doesn't enjoy doing this. So if he gets an opportunity to not do it anymore, why would you not take it, right? I mean, I suppose there is the aspect of things that he could be very, very scared of, Connor and stuff like that, I believe his name is. So that could be, a reasoning why he's not going to stray from his group, stray from his pack, so to speak. So I guess we'll see, right? I guess we will. Okay, so again, also in the promo, we see, the potential plan of them, attacking their boat, now that they are not, longer held captive or anything like that with Daniel and Madison, everything like that. I believe they are going to try to get Strand on board their plan because, let's be honest, like I said before, Madison did save his life, so Strand at this point sort of owes her, you know what I mean? So saving Alicia and saving Travis would be, pretty good, how would you say it? Paying the bill, I guess, is how you do it, right? So, she saved his life, he has to do something, you know what I mean? I think he's that type of person that wouldn't just take that for granted, thanks for saving my life and then go screw yourself sort of guy. I think he's more centered around the aspect, you do stuff for me, I will do stuff for you, right? I think that's sort of why, he let them onto their boat in the first place, because first of all, if it wasn't for Liza, if it wasn't for their group, he would still be stuck behind that door at the end of episode 6 of season 1, about to get eaten by zombies with Nick. So, you know what I mean? They saved his life then. He paid him back by giving them, shelter on that boat. And then Madison saves his life again, by obviously pulling him out of the water, saving him from hypothermia and potential death. And, he might actually do something for her again and join this, crusade to go save their people, right? So, again, we don't know. Could very well be that. Could very well, be a different plan. We could see a different side to Strand that we might not like. There's not too much, like I said, we can take from the promo. There's essentially that. We see the guy that they have captive basically say, Connor, he will come for me. He will come looking for me, yada, yada, yada. Not too important. And other than that, we sort of see, some tension brewing, I guess, so to speak. Chris looks pretty upset, that Alicia has been taken captive, and obviously, his dad as well. He cares for Alicia a lot. It's his sister, right? He actually had, he started to take very good care of her. You know what I mean? And for him to lose her like that, that's got to be pretty shitty for her, or for him rather. And I know that's his dad as well, right? So at this point, he's sort of lost everybody. His mother, his sister that he knew that he had a relationship with, his dad, now has been held captive, right? So he's got nothing, and we sort of get to see a little bit of bonding time with him and Madison. I thought that was pretty cool. So Madison's sort of taking care of him, looking after him, so to speak. And I thought that was a pretty cool relationship change there. The sneak peek now, again, very, very short, about a minute long, involves Strand and Madison basically in the control area of the boat, of the Abigail, driving it. Strand's basically saying, you're basically, you're white knuckling my steering wheel here. You sure you want to give it up? Because, she looks angry. She's grasping the steering wheel like so hard that her knuckles are turning white. And I thought that was a pretty funny, approach to it, to, talking to her. And he heads over there, starts talking to her, and she basically confronts him about sending Nick on a mission to get his friend. Right? Out in the middle of the night, stuff like that. She confronts him about it. And he basically says, Nick volunteered. And, she's still grinding him, saying, it was the middle of the night, he could have died. And he basically replies with, it's been 18 years and you still don't realize the potential that Nick has. And I agree 100% with Nick on this one. You know what I mean? I get why she is protective of him. It's her son. I get that. I totally do. But at the same time, there's a point in life where you sort of just gotta, let them be them, right? If he's that old and, he makes these decisions and he's that much of a survivor on his own, he came through, being an addict on his own. He made that decision to no longer be an addict. And, if he's that strong, he's going to be a pretty big survivor. You know what I mean? He's going to be surviving for years to come. And we get to see that, last episode when he went on his own in the middle of the night, swam through the water with dry clothes in a bag. You know what I mean? He was smart about it. He really, really is. He knows how to survive in this world. And like I said before, man, everybody's just catching up to him at this point. And he knows that, and he's taking advantage of it. And it's very, very good. We get to see him use different techniques. Like I said before, cutting open a zombie, spreading blood all over him, using any type of survival technique that he needs to use in order to survive. And that's just that. Right, so again, we get to see a little bit of tension between Strand and Madison. Thought that was pretty cool. They're sort of arguing about her son, how strong he is, stuff like that. While again, I still understand Madison's reasoning, for wanting to protect him. At the same time, there's a point where you got to let go and accept that he's going to be a pretty big survivor on his own, and that he no longer needs your help. But anyway. That's that, everybody. That's Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Captive. Those are my predictions. If you guys agree with anything that's going to happen in this episode, let me know in the comment section below. Would really appreciate your input. Other than that, let me know if you guys want to see more videos on Fear the Walking Dead and stuff like that. Not just predictions and reviews. If you guys want to see discussions on Wednesdays, I can definitely bring that series back for a little bit. It's not going to be like an every week series, but if you guys want to see different topics that happen during the episodes, be reviewed in its own video. That's what I usually do. You know what I mean? I did that with like Glenn's death back in season 6 of The Walking Dead. Well, his fake death, so to speak. But anyway, that's that, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the video with a like if you did enjoy. Share it with friends. It really would help with the channel a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.